quarantine. Okay, ready? Welcome to Teen Quarantine, personal development training for teenagers that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Teen Quarantine. We are super excited to have you. We have a special guest today, Katie. Katie is in our acting classes, and we are super excited to talk with her today. Hello, Katie.
Hi.
Katie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Doing well. So you sent us over some questions, but why don't we start with, fill us in with right now, where are you at with life?
I'm doing okay. I have a lot more free time now to kind of do like the things that I've wanted to do for a while, but just never got the chance. So that's pretty fun. And I'm doing a lot of schoolwork and yeah.
So tell me about some of those things. What stuff do you get to do now that you didn't get to do before?
I learned how to knit, so that's fun. And I started like this thing called a bullet journal, where it's basically like an agenda that you kind of create yourself and draw. And so I've kind of always wanted to do that, and so now I get to. So that's pretty fun.
That's super cool.
And I have a new dog, so.
All right, can we see? Can we see the dog?
Yeah.
That's kind of a must. Like,
He was just sleeping.
oh, so adorable. What's the name?
Noah.
Noah. Ah, that's so cute. Hello, Noah. Adorable.
Good job.
So there's a lot of really good things going on with you right now.
Yeah, I would say so.
Cool. So let's jump right into the questions. What's the first question you have for me?
For like half an hour to like 45 minutes a day, I'll kind of go through like my monologue and kind of like do different like things and try different like techniques and stuff. And every single time I'll like try to like improv something on like the spot, like with the monologue, I always get tripped up into like thinking about like my own ideas and not really getting fully into character. So I just always find myself my own character, like myself like coming through, and it's just frustrating.
Sure, I totally understand that. First off, way to go doing like 30 45 minutes a day. Like, seriously, that's amazing. There's your applause. Hey, like, that's huge. That is huge. Consistency is everything. So the fact that you're being consistent and doing it every day and going like, I'm gonna work on it, that's amazing. So dealing with the actual thing itself, I'd start by just asking you a question. So when you're working on the monologue, what work are you doing? Are you just practicing it? Are you doing it like a bunch of times over? Are you doing character work also? Like, what does your practice time look like?
So for like 5 to 10ish minutes, I'll like do like this thing called like a character interview that I've kind of curated for myself, and it's like a bunch of different questions that like you would like ask like at like an interview or something, like what's your favorite color and things like that. And so then I'll kind of try to do that a couple of times and try to get different answers every single time and try to make the character more like in depth in my head.
And you do that like some of the times. Okay, what else do you do?
And then I did what you said, and I tried to make it look like more like a script rather than like a monologue, and have like certain pauses in certain areas. So I've been doing that, and then I've been working on different things that she could have said and different reactions that my character would have to the way that she says it or like what she says. And then that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. I'm going to throw some more things at you that I think might help with this as well. I think you're doing a lot with character already, so that's great. There's an exercise you can do called the animal exercise. Have you done that yet?
No.
Okay, so this is really cool. So every one of us, we sort of have a personality that goes with us, right? And you just showed me your little dog. Animals are the same. Animals sort of have a personality that they have, each and every one of them. So if you can start looking at animals and researching, you might find that there's an animal that your character specifically might be compared to. So it's like somebody saying, you are courageous like a lion. Well, why do they say that? Because a lion has courage. It's something that a lion is known for, right? And so you get it's an attribute that gets put to your character. So you start listing out, what are all the character traits of my character? So you've asked questions, but like, what are all the things that make my character who they are? What are their personality types? Like if they took a personality quiz, and you could even do that pretending to be your character. That's a cool one. Then you look at that. You look at all those personality traits, and then you research animals, and you try and find an animal that fits your character. Okay, so let's say you land on, let's say we'll just use that lion example, okay? You land on lion, then you want to really ask questions as to why, because they might have like one of the traits of the lion, but not another. And most of the traits might not line up, but one does, in which case I'd want to research further to see if maybe there's another animal that's courageous, but is a little less dominant. Because I'm courageous, but not dominant the way that the lion is, right? And so you do that research, you find the right animal, and then what you're doing is you're working the character from the outside in. So what you're going to do is you will literally physicalize that animal. So you will get on all fours, and you will become the animal for real, and start walking around your room. You'll make the sounds of the animal, and try and get in the mindset of that animal, looking at life with the lens of that animal. And then ideally, you'll find some movements that will carry you into the movement of your character and the way you move. And I know that's a huge part about what we've been talking about in class, is using the space to our advantage and using the phone to our advantage. You will find the way that she moves. So a great character is like a puzzle. You're slowly piecing them together one little piece at a time. So right now you've done a lot of work on what's called inside out, like who they are on the inside, their backstory a little bit, character questions, like that's awesome. This exercise is meant to help you work outside in, to find the way that a courageous person walks and moves around the room. And then that physicalization will manifest in the way that you speak in your monologue. Does that make sense? So that's one exercise you could be doing, finding that animal. I think that'd be really fun. And then the other thing I was going to ask is, when you go to perform, do you go all the way through, or do you stop and go?
I like take the pauses that you told me to, like for the person's dialogue to come in.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll be on the phone with my friend, and then she'll say her lines, and I'll like text it to her, and then she'll say the lines as I'm trying to like perform, to kind of like make it right in front of me, so it's not like my own like brain kind of doing it.
I love that. I love that. So do you do ones where it's just you practicing the monologue out loud and there's no one else there?
Yeah.
Okay. During those ones, do you stop if you feel like a moment's off?
Yeah. If I think that like the way she said something wasn't like exactly on character, then I'll go back and then retry that line again, or redo the whole monologue.
Okay.
And then
cool. So I'd recommend in those moments, stop and don't just go back, but try and find out why. So start going back to journaling, I guess, right? You start writing things down and you go, I wonder why. Like, what's missing here? What is not getting me excited about this? And then you can start figuring that out, and moment by moment, building this piece all the way through. And then the last part is, if you start looking at this, are you filming it at all?
Like very rarely.
Okay, I would do that a lot. And here's why. It's our #1 resource. For actors, for anybody in any field, to be able to record yourself and watch it back, you'll be able to see all of your mannerisms that you have. You'll be able to see like the way you move and how it translates to the camera. And in this case, the camera being the exact camera you're going to be seen on next week as we showcase these. So those are some of the exercises I would do and kind of throw into your stuff. And I think it comes down to, the more you understand the character, get in the headspace of the character, become the character, the less you're going to sneak in. But there's going to be pieces of you that come into the character because like you're the vessel. You're the thing being used to bring this character to life. So there will be little pieces that will bleed through. However, the more you can do to get yourself in state, the better. And I guess the last recommendation before we move to the last question is whatever headspace you need to get into, I would find ways to do that before your piece. So Matt talked about this morning in Mornings with Matt. He talked about like when you're getting into emotional triggers or crying, like doesn't like doing it right there using substitutes. Instead, he does what's called priming, where you're basically priming your instrument. You're preparing it. You're getting it in the right mindset to be in the emotion it would be in. You can tie to old things that are similar to that emotion, but you get yourself in the headspace of her. Walking around the room as her and not as you, and you'll feel it. You'll feel a difference, and especially that's where physicality comes in that other exercise. Okay? What's your next question?
My next question is like, since I don't have like kind of like a block to block time on when I work on things at school and when I don't, and when I like take breaks and things like that, it's all kind of like mushed together, and then I feel like I deal with like a lot of burnout at the end of the day, and I'm like, and then at the end of the week, because like I'm bad at time management, so I tend to like work the whole week, and then it's like, well, I don't have like a day off to do what I want to do, so like because I used to have that like with like weekends and stuff.
So tell me about your time management. You said you're bad at time management. What do you mean?
Yeah, I try to wake up early and get to schoolwork at like 8, but then I try to overwork myself, and then it doesn't work out, so I feel like I'm cutting corners on like things that are really important, and I just kind of like brush it off. I'm like, okay, I'll get to that later, and then I don't, and then I'll like get distracted with like my phone or like my dog, and then I'll like get super distracted, and then I'll recircle, and then it won't be in the like then I won't be in like the right like headspace like you were talking about to do like my work like correctly.
Absolutely. So I have one recommendation for this. That's a pun for what I'm about to say. There's this book called The One Thing, okay, and it talks about literally focusing in on one thing completely at a time. So we get distracted super easy, right? There's so many things that distract us, and especially when we're working on a problem that we're butting heads with and having a hard time with, we want to immediately just move into something else and go, yeah, I'll just come back to that. But instead, if we can get excited about getting that thing done until completion, that one thing, then moving on to the next thing or then taking a break, then I think you're going to get more done. I think more things will end up happening for you. So what's the school schedule look like? Is it like crazy, like do you have a bunch of work to do? Like,
I feel like I have more work than I used to, because I think we have more free time to do schoolwork, and put out. So I have like not like 7 or 8 things due for class every week, and they're all due on Sunday.
They're all due on Sunday. When do you start them?
I'll try to start it on Monday, and I'll usually do like one like subject at a time. So I'll do all like of my ELA work on Monday, all of my guitar stuff on Tuesday, or like so on and so forth until I'm like done. And then I have 6 classes in a day, so then I tend to like, then at Saturday I am still working, and then on Sunday I have like, I'm like, because then the teachers post new stuff on Sunday, so I want to get ahead, and so then I just feel like I don't have anything, like I never like really have like catch a break, I guess.
Sure.
And it's just,
so it takes you like approximately how many hours then to get through one subject?
like 2 or 3,
Two
or
or
2 and a half ish.
So like all of your ELA, for example, if you sat down and got it done, it would take 2.5, 3?
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 max.
3.5 max.
Okay, so 3.5 max. We got 3.5 hours of that max for your classes, right? So I'm gonna flip your mind a little bit. I think you have a lot more time than you think you have, and here's why. If it's 3.5 hours, right, of your day, that is just a small portion of your entire day. Small portion. And if I'm looking at the whole week, I don't really take much of a weekend. A lot of people do. Okay? My weekend looks a lot lighter than my weekday does when we have classes and stuff. It's crazier. It's just way busier. However, I'm still working on the weekends. I'm still doing stuff. And I still have time to do a lot of fun things. I still have time to hang out with my brother and like hang out with my cousin and do a bunch of stuff that I love to do. I have time for those things, but I have to be really disciplined with my time. And you said you struggle with time management. So I would say going into time management, the number one thing to do is create a little schedule for yourself. Like as if you were at school, like an administrator for your own life. That's the way I've been describing it. And you have to plan those things out. You have to plan every one of these little things you have out. And I would actually say instead of 3.5 or whatever, are you just sitting straight at the table, just going?
Yeah.
I'd give yourself breaks. I honestly would. And like maybe you know how. Like maybe it's after a section or something. After a section you go, and it could be 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be like a long deal, but that maybe you go do a creative thing. You go stretch. You go like whatever. But I think when we sit down and we try and like zone in for hours at a time and process so much information, learn it, receive it, and then test on it, it's actually harder on us. Versus if you go for like let's say 90 minutes, like 90 minutes, and then you take a 15-minute, 30-minute break, and then you come back for another 90 or 60, I bet you would get more work done. You might even start doing the work for the next day. I think you would. But what happens is, you start working on something, we get frustrated, and then we're like, let me go get a glass of water, and then you're like, ooh, some Cheetos in here, like, or whatever. And then the next thing you know, you've done you've just wasted, and we don't track our time much, so you've wasted an hour walking down the hallway, going to get a snack, doing something else, you play with the dog, and you say you were doing homework for 6 hours or whatever, but actually it was less because the time wasn't completely focused on that one thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would challenge you. My challenge to you would be get a timer. Use your phone or use whatever. So let's say you're going down for homework time, okay? You're sitting down, you're zoning in on it, and you're working on your homework. You put a timer on it for like 60 minutes or whatever, and you watch it, you keep it going. If you had to get up and get distracted, then you have to pause it so that you know you did that. Right? And literally see how much track your time. When I got out of the hospital, there was this thing I did at first where I would literally track everything moment to moment, and I realized how much time I was wasting. Like there was a bunch of time that was just like I thought I was doing stuff, and I actually was just like filling it with other things. I didn't realize like I would scroll for a second and think it was a few seconds, but really it was like 20 minutes, right? Like little things like that. And so I would challenge you to get a timer and set some little times for yourself and see if I think you'll get more work done faster and you'll have more time to do some of the things you love. And I would make that a part of every day.
Okay.
Are you hanging out with friends?
No.
Okay, you got to do that. Got to do that. So I know you can't hang out in person right now, but there's the virtual platform, right? There's all kinds of things like that. So you can get on, your iPhone and FaceTime somebody. FaceTime a friend and just hang out for 15 minutes. That's it. But like we need human interaction. We need it. It's in our DNA. So if we don't get it, we will get depressed. It will happen. Like it's just one of those things. And especially like you said, you're like, I used to be this way. You mentioned to me that I was shyer and I've gotten out of that. I'm an extrovert now. It's really hard right now for extroverts.
Yeah.
It's super hard because we're used to like being around people and like hugging and hanging out and like just being in each other's company. Well, you can still be an extrovert from home. You can be an extrovert. You just have to lead, and this is a great time to be a leader. You can call friends, and they weren't going to call you, but now that you've called them, you just made their day, and your day's better. Your day's better because you're like, oh, let me call them. So I would think of all the friends that you usually hang out with. Make a little list, and go every day. It's a non-negotiable. Every day I have to call at least one person, at least. At least. If you have a best friend, I would make it I have to call them every day. I would just go, all right, I need to connect with my best friend every day because it's important to me. And what's crazy about that is you will grow closer to them in this time than ever before. And then at the end of this whole thing, you'll look back on it and go, I kind of miss some of those moments. It'll be weird. You'll go, I missed that a little bit. I missed that. Now I'm glad things are back this way, but I missed that. So we got
Yeah.
that. How you feeling?
Good. I'm just trying to like take it all in and like
It's a lot, I know.
make sense to myself.
What have you got so far? What do you think?
Give me a second. So I wrote down like the animal stuff, and like I wrote like inside out in like really big and an obnoxious font. And then I kind of wrote down like, and then like for like my next week, I kind of wrote down like the people that I was gonna call or like try to call, I guess. And
No, not try. Not try. You're going to. If you wrote try, fix it.
Okay.
Did you?
I wrote try to call one of my friends because she doesn't pick up ever. So.
But you called her. So
Yeah.
so call my friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Just get it in your mind. Get it in your mind. Wipe try from your mind. Just wipe it. Get rid of the word. Like instead it's just I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. If they don't end up calling me back, cool, but I can say I did. I can say I called them every day and eventually hopefully they answer, and when they do, great. But I did my part. I called them every day. And then you're implanting that in your brain subconsciously. It's so weird. If you say, yeah, I'm going to try and get to that, you probably won't. Even in your mind. It's like crazy. Like these little things we tell ourselves. And right now, when we're in this quarantine, it is the most important thing to have power over your mind. Your mind is the thing that will take you down or rise you up. So right now, every little thought you have, be aware of it and fight against any of the negative ones. Battle them with positive. When you get negative, find something to be positive about, because there's a billion things in this world to be positive about. There really are. I mean, you're an actress. It's awesome. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
There was one that I think I wrote, and I don't think I meant to, but I did anyway. And it was like, and it was like, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think it was like trying to push forward with like acting and like things like that, and like, and then just feeling like since I can't really like go out and like do certain things that I was going to do, like I was gonna get my headshots redone, like I think today or tomorrow, and now I can't because of quarantine. And there are just so many things I wish I could have done during like the summer, but we don't know how long this is gonna last. So I could like have been wasted my whole summer on like trying to like get, I don't know, like do things, and then I just don't and can't anymore.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one actually. So you even said the word in there already once, right? A couple times, because it's true. I can't, I can't do this, can't do that. So what we as a studio are focusing on right now, what can we do? So instead of thinking about all the can'ts, and there's plenty of them, like Shay, we talked about this on the podcast the other day. Basically, she's supposed to be on her honeymoon right now. They had an entire month honeymoon planned out in Barcelona, Spain, and like traveling Europe. That's where they're supposed to be right now. That's a can't. I can't go. So last night, her husband did something super cool. He had this idea. They got food, Spanish food, and pretended like they were in Barcelona. That is a memory they will never forget, guaranteed. They will never forget that memory, ever. And what happened was, instead of sulking, they were sad. It's sad. But then they moved past it and found something positive. So instead of saying, what can't I do? Jake sat there and said, what can I do? What can I do? What's something I can do? And I guarantee that memory is a lifetime type of memory. And so if we start looking at this from acting in anything, instead of what can't I do, what can I do instead? So yeah, you were supposed to get your headshots redone. So do you have any headshots?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're just older?
Yeah.
Okay. How much older? Like it doesn't look like me anymore older, or just
It looks like me, but I look older than I did.
Okay,
when I took.
cool. So you have what you have right now. You could try and take a photo even from home that's like really nice on the iPhone and see what you can get out of that if you can find a background. But for now, you have what you have. So let's say that. Here's what you can do. If you flip your mindset, what can I do? You can start looking up and getting on any audition site possible. And there's a bunch of them. Like you just look up, there's like Actors Access, there's Casting Networks, there's a ton. There's just so many of these listings, but those are two of the top national sites, okay? And national sites are you're gonna get so many auditions you can't even count. And these are needle in the haystack. The whole nation is going out for this thing, okay? But you can make a profile and you can just start getting better. You can pick up a script that's not the one you're used to and have to keep picking up new scripts and keep picking up new scripts and keep picking up new scripts and auditioning. You can audition every single day. You can find something to audition with. If you couldn't find an audition, then you find a script online and you pretend like you have an audition. Like, you can choose to go can versus can't. And then while everybody else was like, oh, I didn't get to do my headshots, so instead I didn't do anything. Like, you've already said, I worked on my monologue this amount of time, right? Well, when that finishes this month, like, you'll be working on something new. While you're doing that, you can be on those sites. You can be practicing auditioning every single day. Every single day. And again, based on time, you have more of it. It's just a guarantee. You have more. So we use that time to do that. Now you're doing something you weren't doing before. Is it perfect? No. Then as soon as you get out of this thing, you get your headshots and then you put them on that site that you're on and you update from there. Like, you update with what you can do when you can do it instead of focusing on the things you can't do while you can't do them. Okay? And there's all kinds of other ones. I mean, there's exercises you can be working on as an actress. And again, getting yourself out there. You don't want to focus on the thing. I'll tell you this advice right now. This was talked about this morning too. You don't want to focus on the thing. So there's this analogy Matt uses that I really like, where he talks about being a millionaire. Okay? A lot of people want to be a millionaire, right? So you go like, I want to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million. And then the example he uses is then his mom dies and the insurance check comes in and it's $1 million. And you're like, that's not what I meant. The idea is, instead of wanting the million, you want to become the kind of person who deserves $1 million, who's worth $1 million. Not focusing on getting the million, but being the person that's worthy of that. And in the same way, if you stop thinking about the agent or the gig or some long-term goal, which you should have goals. It's great to have goals. Instead of focusing on those things, though, you just focus on getting better every single day and growing every single day, putting yourself out there, then you will get those things inevitably. It will just happen. Most of the gigs I've had were just purely because I've kept working on my craft. People now know who I am. They know what I do. And it just falls right in my lap. I don't even audition very much anymore. Like, just falls in my lap if it's meant to be. Because I work really hard to create that. And I've worked so hard for a long time, and I keep working. I work harder every day. And so you could be doing that right now in this time. You could be creating an actor profile for each of your accounts, for Instagram, for your social medias. You could look into making an actor website. Seriously, like all these things that, of course, you'd update the headshot on later when you got out. But these are things and skills, too, that will long last into business, into life, no matter what you do. Like right now at our studio, we're looking into all kinds of just web stuff and growing in that area. And so, like, we're growing as human beings. I'm learning stuff that I'm like, I don't get that. But I'm doing it, and I guaranteed no matter where I go in this company and where we go, like, it's going to be valuable. Like, because I'm growing. My brain is continuing to grow. And so I would inspire you to do the same. Make a list. What are all the things I can do for my acting? And get excited about that. And anytime a can't pops in your head, just tell it like, no, I got plenty of cans to do. I'm not going to worry about you. Hey, that rhymed.
I think what my friend does, and I really admire my friend Amanda. She's like super good about like being like positive and stuff. She's my idol. And so what she does is she'll write like a bunch of cans and then she'll like draw like an arrow on like the side over and then say will on it. So like I will do that later, or like I will, I don't know, feed my dog, or like, like things like that. And so then she tries
Hmm.
to flip them over.
I love that. I love that. So do things like that. Sounds like your friend's got that right. And here's why she does that. Mindset. Mindset. It's all up here. I'm telling you. It's all up here. Like, you can make yourself sick with your mind. I've done it. I've done it. Where, like, I was in bed and I was, like, laying in bed and I was feeling sorry for myself and letting myself get sick. And I was sick at the beginning, but I let the sickness drag out. Instead of just getting up and battling it with my mind and getting up and exercising a little bit and resting when I needed to, the sickness lasted longer. And then I had a friend come in and help me, and it was like, boom. They were like, get up and just do something. Don't just lay there, you know? And the next thing I knew, better. Like, there are things, the mind is so, so powerful. So if I were you, I'd find your ways of doing it. That's her way. It might be Post-it notes in your room. It might be creative drawings. Like, whatever it is for you that's going to inspire you and keep you positive, you want it everywhere. You want it everywhere, reminding you every day. You want it in your notebook. You want it on your computer. You want it in your room, in your bathroom. Like, you don't want to go anywhere without feeling the positive energy that you want to put out in the world.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Oh, it's a bone. Dog's chewing a bone. I'm like, what?
So what'd you take away from today?
That that you can basically do anything with like a work ethic and a mindset, and then you can like, I hate the word manipulate, but you can kind of manipulate things to work in your favor, and you can do a lot more things than you realize if you focus on like the cans and you don't focus on like the cans, and then you can get excited about the things that you can do and kind of like ignore the things that you can't, and then when we're like out of quarantine we can go back and circle back to that and then do those things, and then you get even more things to do, and so it's just better.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you got that out of this. And so my next question, what are you going to do about it?
I think I have like a huge like notebook collection, so I might take one of those down and write a bunch of like different things I can do, and then try to like do different things. Like you said, Actors Access, and I've heard of that. I just never signed up for it, so I might go on there and kind of see and do like things like that on there, and just kind of like do and try to do things that I can do like while home and in quarantine, rather than kind of like focusing on what I can't do and like ignoring things, and then just kind of like saying like not doing anything rather than like doing something that I can do. That makes sense.
It totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. And I'm going to check in on you next week.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to send a call your way, and it's just going to be, hey, how's it working with the cans? How's it working with making sure I'm saying can to everything instead of can't? And I cannot wait to hear about how that's going.
Okay.
So you've now got somebody holding you accountable a little bit. And so make it happen. And I bet you the other parts of your life, as you start doing this and getting in that positive mindset, they're going to get easier. The stress of school is going to get a little easier. You're going to find more time for the friends, and life's just going to become more joyful for you. Cool. Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We'll see you in class this next week.
Okay.
Woo!
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Would you like to?
I was just going to say thank you guys for watching another episode of Teen Quarantine. We appreciate you. Just continue to grow. Like, today's was really about our mindset and how we control it. Like, our mind controls so many things. So we would encourage you at home to start doing some exercises and figure out what you can do to make your space a place that's inspiring for you. So thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow.
See, how could we have left that out? We couldn't have left that out.
Ah, we couldn't have, Joe.
No,
Thank you so
couldn't-
much.
couldn't have
Joey
left
Sweeney,
it out.
everybody. Thank you. Thank you for being here and for helping. I literally couldn't do it without you, man. You're the man.
Nux. All right. Thanks for listening to Teen Quarantine. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, workshops, and private lessons, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.